For the past 4 or 5 days in Team Battle Arena, I've been assaulting the same person over and over and over again. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it again today. And so I decided I would just make a video, not to put the person on blast or whatever. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to show their IGN. But to give you guys some tips on Team Battle Arena and to basically give you some tips on what to do if you're being hunted or you're being basically like combo womboed. Because if you look at my win-loss record and you go over to my attacks, sorry to this guy, shout out to this person. I apologize. You're kind of the impetus for making this video, but yeah, this has just been a fiesta. And this does not even begin to show you. This is 1 day, 21 hours ago, but I've been doing this for, yeah, like 3, 4, 5 days, I think, nonstop. And as you can see, the results have been very, very good. What I want to point you to is that I'm getting, so look at this. When I queued up yesterday, or 2 days ago, he was so many points ahead of me that I was getting 99 on a domination win. So that's 69 for the win and then 30 for the domination. And then it started decaying by 1 point, 98, 97, 96, 93, 90. And so this is essentially like that one there, I didn't get a domination. The very most recent one. You can see the last 3 actually. It's like the last 4 is like domination, no domination, domination, no domination. And so basically this is what's happening. And to give you guys an idea of what's happening on the defense end, I am getting attacked a lot by the same account that's attacking me, with, I would say, limited success, because they're winning, but they're also losing in between. And you also should note the number of points. The number of points tells you a story, because it tells you that A, they're not dominating me, because I would lose more points, I believe. And then B, the number of points are going up slowly because I'm slowly getting further and further away from them in points. So it's not to say that the strategy for the person that I'm attacking should be to not attack me. I don't really have an opinion on that. If you want to attack the person that attacked you, like, go ahead. I don't know if it's necessarily the best strategy compared to what I'm about to show you, but it is what it is. So I'm going to queue up for that same account, and I'm going to search for them, whatever, and show you why I'm winning so much. And I mean, part of the reason, of course, is just, you have better cards, you have better builds, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Sure. But there are a couple of what I think are fixable errors. And I realize by making this video, I'm essentially showing this person how to stop losing to me, most likely, or to basically to stop making themselves such an attractive opponent. This is the thing. Listen, you're in PvP, there's always going to be somebody stronger than you. I'm by no means the top PvP player, right? I might be like the 30th best or the 50th best player in the game for this PvP game mode, whatever. But that means there's 29 people ahead of me, or there's 49 people ahead of me, depending on whatever number you use, right? There's always, there's people in my alliance who would just clap my account. I get that. So you're never gonna escape that. You're never gonna be the #1 PvP player. There's always gonna be a bigger whale, sure, but you can make yourself a less attractive opponent by not doing some of what you're gonna see and changing it to what I'm gonna tell you. So here's his account. Okay, he did make changes. What a rascal! Damn it, he ruined my video. This is hilarious. He did make changes. Okay. Interesting. I don't think he made good changes. I'll be honest. Okay, so I have a couple of screenshots because I thought this might happen. So I have some screenshots from before, and I want to overlay the screenshots to show you guys what I'm talking about here. Okay, so in this first screenshot, and you can see this is a screenshot. I'm zooming in and zooming out because it's a screenshot. This is not live play. You can see that it's the same opponent. And this is basically why I was able to farm them so consistently. It was a combination of 2 things. So the first thing was Wolverine Hela. That was the first issue. And hiding their Wolverine team was not really doing them any, wasn't benefiting them whatsoever. That was the first issue. So that I was taking advantage of that, because if you're being hunted by somebody that's using, for example, Wolverine Hela, and they're dominating you, and you have Wolverine in your top 3, that means that they're beating you every single time. And if they're beating you every single time, because a domination has to be the first 3 wins, right? The first 3 attacks have to be wins. then it means you have to do something. You have to do something, change something about the team. And in this case, it's just his Wolverine team with Magic versus mine with Hela. And I think, to his credit, every maybe like 10 or 15 wins, I would lose one because Wolverine is just a bit inconsistent in that way. But overall, that was one of the weaknesses I saw. It wasn't the biggest weakness, but it was one of the weaknesses I saw. The biggest weakness I saw by far was right here. Right here. Silver Surfer, Agent Venom, great combo, but then Spider-Man. And if you look, I'm going to go back to the game for a second here. If you look at most other teams, if you take a look at their roster, you'll see Carnage. You'll see Carnage with Silver Surfer. You'll see Carnage with Silver Surfer there. You'll see Carnage with Silver Surfer. You'll see Carnage with Silver Surfer, except for there. And so you got to identify that if everyone is using a certain comp, a certain like setup, and you're using one that is just specifically weaker, in this case because Carnage has type advantage over Spider-Man, you're just not doing yourself favors. Now, in this case, you could have made the argument if you didn't see his fifth team, oh, maybe he doesn't have Carnage built up. But we know he does have Carnage built up, or they have Carnage built up, whatever. So in this case, they could have just made a simple change to their team to swap Carnage and Spider-Man, and they would have become a less attractive opponent to me. I still may have attacked them, and I still may have won as many matches. I don't know. You can't say it's impossible. I may have lost matches, but it definitely would have been less attractive to me. But seeing this exploitable weakness, seeing this sort of clear advantage for me was something that I couldn't ignore, right? And then for the fifth team here with Thanos, Hela, and Carnage, I want you to understand something. What this tells me is that this player is using this team to take advantage of somebody else. Right? They're leveraging a team that has so many buffs against heroes, because Thanos has all of those buffs against heroes personally. Then he obviously has the leadership for villains, whatever. But then Hela on top of that, right? Hela makes Thanos insanely good against heroes, specifically. But of course, if Thanos is good against heroes, he doesn't do anything against villains. So he's terrible in a mirror match. He becomes terrible in a mirror match if you don't use the same team. In this case, my team that I was using was just Thanos and the zombies, right? I was using this team right here. Thanos with Zombie Cap and Zombie Weapon Axe. And you don't have to use that specific team, but it basically just allows you to use a different team and ignore a big part of what makes the other player's team good. So I just want to point that out to you guys, that it's a bit risky to do something like this on defense. Now, I understand why they may have been doing it for offense, and I'm not saying that it's a bad move. It's a good move, but then you have to change your team after your last attack into a more defensible team, right? So these teams, they may be better for attack. For example, to put myself in the mind of this player, if this player needs to punch up, right? If their account is not that strong, but they're still doing really well. Let's say, I'm not saying their account is weak, but let's say their account is weak, just for the hypothesis, just for the sake of what I'm about to say. Let's say their account is weak. They're still in the top 5. They're doing a really good job. So I'm not here to slander them at all. They're doing a really good job. But what I want to identify is just ways in which they can improve between attacking and defending. So for example, if they're punching up, maybe they're using their Silver Surfer team to take down Adam, right? Because they're staggering their teams rather than doing a mirror match. They're staggering. So maybe they're sending Sentry against my third best team, which I don't know what that would be. Maybe it would be the Silver Surfer team, or maybe it'd be the Wolverine team, for example, or something like that. And then they're going to use their Silver Surfer team against Adam, and maybe they're going to use the Adam team against Wolverine. Let's just say this is their path to victory, something like that. They're using Spider-Man because Spider-Man has type advantage against Adam. So when they mirror match with me, I have, Molecule Man, whatever. Agent Venom's buffs don't get interrupted or ignored by that. And then Adam and Emma both have type disadvantage versus Spider-Man. So in this case, if they were attacking Surfer team versus Adam team, Spider-Man makes a lot more sense than Carnage for attacking. But then when you get to defending, you have to change back to a more defensible team. And this is where swapping Carnage and Spider-Man makes more sense to me. It doesn't necessarily make this team down here stronger, because Spider-Man benefits from fewer buffs. He doesn't benefit from Thanos' lead. But it makes this team so much stronger defensively to defend. So this is basically what I wanted to point out to you guys. is, you know, sometimes if you're getting attacked a lot, you have to look at your team composition. Sometimes you shuffle the teams around. Sure, we talked about this before, like just shuffling them around so someone can't, you know, get a really easy beat on you. And sometimes they just queue up automatically and they lose because they didn't see that the teams were changed. But you also have to shuffle your team around in the sense of, you know, if you're getting farmed, maybe move some characters around. Assuming you have builds for all of these characters, of course. If you don't have a build for a character, if they don't have a CTP, whatever, you're not going to be able to do that. But if you do, or if you can just shuffle characters within different teams, try out different team compositions. So, for example, if I'm getting farmed a lot, maybe I am going to move Coulson and Mantis away from Sentry, move Hela up, and then, I don't know, maybe I'm going to give Coulson to Wolverine, for example. I don't know, or something like that, right? So this is really important because otherwise you're going to get farmed and you're going to lose a lot of points, a lot more than you're going to win. That one change would have made a big difference. Now, if I still wanted to ace this guy, what would I do? Now, normally, my default would just be to mirror match him. So this would be my default, to just go in as is mirror match. Now, the first team I'm a little bit skeptical of. I don't know if I can win. Surprisingly, Hela doesn't buff Sentry as much as you might think. It can be helpful if the enemy Sentry is not that strong, but if the enemy Sentry is very strong, then the buffs that Sentry is getting from 2 supports can outweigh the Hela buffs. Hela's buffs are good, but remember, you're also giving up a slot, right? You're giving up a slot not only slot. You're giving up a slot not only for the buffs, but you're also giving up a slot for the CTPs. So that Sentry can only have either a Liberation or an Insight, but not both, right? So that's the first thing. Second thing is, I'm pretty confident that the Wolverine Spider-Man team is objectively worse than the Wolverine Magic team. So for those of you thinking that you want to try this strategy, again, I think this is a strategy that this account is using for attacking. And sure, maybe that works for you, but then you have to change it for defending. The reason why the Magic Spider-Man team works, the Magic Wolverine team works, is because Magic has immortality, and Magic can also, you can use her lead instead of Wasps if you want for a little bit more attack, but also she has type advantage versus Wolverine. So in the mirror match, she can kill Wolverine. It sounds crazy, but she can. Here, when you set specifically with Spider-Man, Spider-Man has type disadvantage. So not only is Wolverine going to clap Spider-Man, he's going to clap him super fast because I have Hela as well. So it doesn't really address any of the issues. The third team there with Silver Surfer, Magic, and Agent Venom, it seems good. It seems quirky, but then you realize Magic has nothing. She's sitting on an island. She has no buffs. She just has the cleanse. That's it. She gets nothing from Agent Venom, except maybe whatever the CTP gives. So in that case, even though she has type advantage over Carnage, I still think Carnage has an advantage because he's reaping all the benefits of those buffs from Agent Venom. Then you have unfortunately the Shalabal team there. I just think, unfortunately, I think if they buffed Shalabal and or Emma, this could be a really, really good team. This might be like the new meta team for Adam, but currently she's not strong enough. And Molecule Man, unfortunately, in the mirror match specifically, Molecule Man actually does so much damage to Shalabal and Emma because of the fact that his lead, remember, his lead reduces, or no, it's not his lead. He has a support ability. I forget where his support ability is. He reduces reflect damage received by, I believe it's 50%. I don't remember where it is. Yeah, there. All allies decreases damage received from reflect by 50%. So if you don't if you're fighting, be careful. If you're fighting a reflect heavy team, you know, specifically like Emma and Shalabal with Adam, or Emma with Adam, and you don't use Molecule Man, you're at an extreme disadvantage because I'm taking 50% less damage from all of the reflect compared to you. You're going to take the full amount of reflect damage. Now in this case, he's using Adam Warlock lead to get more energy defense. That could work. I don't know. That could work. We're about to find out. So let's see. I think my prediction is I'm going to 3-0. My prediction is I'm going to 3-0, but I wanted to go through all of this kind of mentally with you guys. so that you guys have a better idea of, because I think this game, like a better idea of maybe some strategy, some plans, you know, some tactics you want to use or want to stop using. I think this game mode is really, really good. I haven't necessarily found a good way to present content for this game mode to make it exciting and interesting and digestible. I would love to hear your feedback if there's a way that you think, aside from like screaming into the microphone and like doing 50,000 jump cuts. I'm not gonna Mr. Beastify my content, but if there's a way that you guys could see, or if the content is, I don't know, maybe this is as good as it gets. I don't know. This is gonna be okay. I was listen. I died. He died, and I was, you know, thinking maybe he was gonna get the jump on me. But yeah. And listen, I'm not gonna discount. Yeah, Spider-Man just gets destroyed, bro. In 3 seconds, he gets wrecked. I'm not gonna discount the possibility that you know. Listen, there are players that are just gonna be better than you, straight up better than you in PvP. And again, there's players that are just straight up better than me in PvP. That's why I don't stay in Challenger. I bounce up to Challenger and I bounce down because I'm not good enough to stay there week in and week out. I'm not doing this to, like, you know, mock people's accounts or you know, showcase how good my PvP account is. Oh, I'm gonna lose this one, it looks like. I can't kill Silver Surfer. I'm doing this to kind of shed light on a PvP game mode that I really enjoy, and B, you know, if there's any kind of, oh wow, I don't know how I clutched that out. If there's any kind of you know, advantage that I can give you, right? So 95 points there is basically as good as it gets. I'm absolutely gonna farm this player, and I'm gonna do it rapidly so that I don't so that someone else doesn't come in and also farm that player, and then the decay and the loss of points means that I don't get as much. What can they do besides what I've already outlined? I mean, basically just, I would say, if you're really struggling a lot, try to mirror some of the top teams. They are that way for a reason. I mean, some of these teams, I don't know, some of these teams are a bit sketchy. Try to mirror the top teams that you see repeated a lot. So like Silver Surfer, Carnage, Agent Venom, Wolverine, Wasp, Magic, something like that. Try to mirror some of these teams, and a lot of it's trial and error as well, right? A lot of it's trial and error, but ultimately, you know, you have to identify, if you're being hunted, you got to change something. Changing nothing is gonna, you know, only result in what's happening. But then you also have to think about, okay, these teams are good for attacking, and I'll shuffle them around. You know, I'll introduce Spider-Man to take down Atom, whatever. I'll introduce this other Blast character to take down Wolverine. Get your attacks in, climb as best as you can, but then you have to reshuffle your team for defense. Because if you can climb, but then you're very easy to hit, it's going to, you're basically going to be net zero, right? You're not really going to be climbing or, like, you know, improving. And that's what I'm trying to help players do, right? To improve, and so that they can get better and better, and they have more wins and fewer losses, and they get more domination bonuses and stuff like that. So hopefully this video has been helpful. If it hasn't, or if it wasn't as interesting as you wanted it to be, and you have ideas for that, hit me up in the comments down below, or on Twitter, or on Discord. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button if you enjoy the content, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.